Well, hello, it's morning. Yes, it most certainly is, and it's a Friday morning. Good to see you here. Look at that. We had a Monday, a Wednesday, and a Friday, and we even added in a Tuesday. We got a complete series plus a bonus. We haven't had a complete series for a couple of weeks. Oh, well, that's the way it goes sometimes, but here we are, rocking and rolling. Let's carry on with our study in 1 Corinthians 13. Love, love, love. All you need is love. Wah, 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 wah. Okay. Um, yeah. Let's carry on with our series on love, 1 Corinthians 13. We're doing the tail end verses um of that passage of that chapter, 1 Corinthians 13. The first two sections that we dealt with on I guess it was Tuesday and Wednesday. The first two sections that we dealt with are very well known, very common, often comes to mind first. The tail end of this third section is pretty well known too. But sometimes this third section, the verses that happen after the big description of love is this, love is not this, love does this, love does not this, do this. Sometimes the verses after that get missed because we tend to stop after at verse 7 or 8 there. But let's take a look at these verses. They say some cool stuff, so it's worth having a look. Okay, whoa, sorry. There we go. Oh, there we are. Prophecy and speaking in unknown languages and special knowledge will become useless, but love will last forever. Now, our knowledge is partial and incomplete, and even the gift of prophecy reveals only part of the whole picture. But when the time of perfection comes, these partial things will become useless. It carries on. When I was a child, I spoke and thought and reasoned as a child. But when I grew up, I put away childish things. Now we see things imperfectly, like puzzling reflections in a mirror. But then we will see everything with perfect clarity. All that I now know is partial and incomplete. But then I will know everything completely, just as God now knows me completely. And here we are. Three things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. The chapter 13 of 1 Corinthians is about love. And so that's the context of this. What's he saying here? What's Paul saying? Prophecy and speaking in unknown languages. Let's take a second and highlight. Prophecy and speaking in unknown languages, right? That seems like a pretty cool gift. Special knowledge, another pretty cool gift. Those things will become useless, but love will last forever. Why would those things, prophecy and speaking in unknown languages and special knowledge, why would those things become useless at some point? Let's carry on. We're going to, sorry. Oh, sorry, guys. There, are we on? There we are. Okay. Um, let's look at this. But love will last forever. Now, our knowledge is partial and it's incomplete, right? And even the gift of prophecy reveals only part of the whole picture. But when the time of perfection comes, these partial things will become useless. Here's his point. Right now, we need all of these different spiritual gifts because our connection with God is hampered by our sin and by the fall and by the state of the world. Our connection to God requires that we have some of these special gifts. And I have a set of gifts. You have a set of gifts that the Lord has given you. He's given me. And we need that body of believers together to try and maximize that opportunity to hear from the Lord. But those things are prophecy and special knowledge and speaking in unknown languages. And another term for that is speaking in tongues. The gift of prophecy, those things only reveal a part of the picture right now. But when the time of perfection comes, when Jesus returns, these partial things, those things that we need right now to try and connect with the Lord, when Jesus comes and makes all things complete, we won't need those things anymore. We won't need those things. That seems kind of strange to think that there will come a time when something as important as prophecy and having discernment and all those other spiritual gifts, that there will come a point when Jesus returns that we won't need those because we'll be in Jesus's presence. All right, let's carry on. Did it go? Uh-oh. We're not progressing here. Hang on a sec. I hope I don't have to re-record. There we go. Little technical difficulty, but we're rolling along. When I was a child and spoke and thought and I spoke and thought and reasoned as a child. I was immature. As a child, I was immature, and I acted and spoke and thought in an immature way. But when I grew up, I put away childish things. Carry that over to this idea of there's a time right now when Jesus is not with us physically, like before he returns, we're kind of like immature children. We're growing in our maturity, but we're never going to reach full maturity until Jesus comes, right? So here now, before Jesus comes, we speak and we reason and we think spiritually as best we can with the tools that God has given us in the way that we develop those tools. But when we get to full maturity, which is when Jesus is with us, when he returns, we put away those childish things. We don't need those things anymore. Now we see things imperfectly, like puzzling reflections in a mirror. Back then, a mirror wasn't clear like our mirrors are today. Their mirrors were a little bit kind of foggy. They didn't give you kind of a low definition picture compared to our high def picture, right? On the TVs, so when you looked in a mirror, it was a little bit fuzzy, foggy, didn't give you a real clear picture. So now we see things imperfectly, like puzzling reflections in a mirror. But when Jesus comes, then we will see everything with perfect clarity. All that I know now is partial and incomplete, but then I will know everything completely. When Jesus returns, then we'll know everything completely, just as God knows me completely. When Jesus returns and we're given that full knowledge, brought into full knowledge, not omniscience, but brought into the full knowledge that God wants us to have. 3 things will last forever: faith, hope, and love. The greatest of these is love. The most important of these things is love. Right now, we need to act on faith when it comes to our relationship with God, right? And it's not a blind faith. It's a faith based on good reason. We have a reason to believe what we believe. We have many reasons to believe what we believe, but we still have to exercise faith in following God. And we still have that eternal hope, right? We know that that God is good to his promises. He's going to be faithful to his promises. But at this point, that's a hope that we have, an eternal hope that we have. When Jesus returns, that faith and that hope, as awesome as they are, and it says here that they'll last forever, but they won't be needed the same way when Jesus is present with us. The greatest of these is love. Why? Why will love remain? Because God is eternal and God is love. And so that love, and that learning to live in love and act in love is important, because it's the one thing that will outlast all those other things. It's the one thing that when we come into maturity, it will still be there. So there you go. Love is a host of amazing things, and love does a host of amazing things, and love will endure because God is eternal. God will be there. It's great. So, no matter how good you are at life, no matter how awesome you are, no matter how wonderful you are, if you don't have love, it's nothing. Because you got to remember that love is a list of things, and it does a list of things, and love is not a list of things and does not do a list of things. And as we mature, that's awesome, that sanctification where God brings us along. But in the end, when Jesus returns, all of those other things will disappear and be unneeded, but love will remain, because God is eternal and God is love. All right, there we go. First Corinthians 13. Love, love, love. Have a great one, and we will see you next week. Next week, we've got someone else speaking. I believe it's Bree Pearson. Dun, 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 dun. So awesome. We'll see you next time on Well, Hello, It's Morning.